Hi, second graders. Mrs. Shannon here. I'm going to read a story to you titled I Fall Down by Vicky Cobb. This is an expository text or informational. It is a nonfiction story where you are going to learn facts and information. Remember our essential question that we learned yesterday was how do the Earth's forces affect us? In this story, we will read about how gravity pushes and pulls. I heard a lot of great examples of how gravity affects us here on Earth in your flip grids yesterday. So maybe you will see some examples that you thought of yesterday in this story. Follow along as I read aloud. Know what happens when you trip? You fall down. Know what happens when you spill your milk? It drips down. Throw a ball up into the air. Watch what happens. It goes up for a short time, then falls down. Try tossing other things up in the air. Your mom's keys, a block. When something falls, which way does it fall? Does it ever fall up? Know what makes things fall? It's a force called gravity. As long as you are on Earth, you can't get away from it. Gravity is always pulling things. Know which way? Down, down, down. You can see how gravity pulls. Take a spoonful of molasses or honey and point the spoon down so that the goo dribbles back into the jar. Watch it drip. The goo stretches and gets longer and longer. It looks like a ribbon streaming into the jar. Gravity pulls the molasses from the spoon back into the jar. Pretty cool. Do some things fall faster than others? Try it and see. Hold a penny and a key in one hand. Open your hand so they both start falling at the same time. Listen and watch as they hit the floor. Did either the penny or the key win the race? Or was it a tie? Things fall so fast, it's hard to tell if there is a winner or a loser. Have lots of dropping races. But no matter whether the objects are big or small, it seems that it's always a tie. The only time you have a clear loser is when you drop something that the wind could easily blow away, such as a feather or a tissue. You see air fighting gravity only with very light objects. If there were no air, you would find that gravity pulls everything at the same speed. Astronauts proved this on the moon, where there is no air. Every dropping race was a tie. Amazing, but true. Does everything land with the same force? Or do some things hit harder than others? Here's a way to find out. Have someone drop a dry sponge onto your hand from about a foot above it. Next, try a small bar of soap. Which hits your hand harder, the sponge or the soap? Try dropping lots of things into your hand. Soon you will discover that some things hit harder than others. Now hold the bar of soap in one hand and the sponge in the other. Which is heavier, the sponge or the soap? Move your hands up and down to feel the difference. Your hands stop the sponge and the soap from falling to the ground, but you can still feel gravity's pull on the soap and the sponge when you hold them in your hands. This pull is called weight. So when you feel which one is heavier, that one has more weight. The gravity is pulling it towards the ground. So our reread, our stop and check asks, what is weight? I can go back and reread this page to find out. So I will reread the last paragraph. It reads, but you can still feel gravity's pull on the soap and sponge when you hold them in your hands. This pull is called weight. So weight is the gravity's pull on an object. You can see if one object is heavier than another without letting either of them fall. Here's how. Get 2 rubber bands the same size. Tie one of your shoes to one rubber band. Tie one of your parents' shoes to the other rubber band. Lift both shoes by the rubber bands. Which rubber band stretches more? The heavier shoe stretches the rubber band more. Each rubber band acts like a scale to measure weight. That's kind of a fun experiment, second graders. If you have rubber bands and permission from your parents, maybe you could give this a try. Your weight is a measure of how hard you fall when you fall down. How much do you weigh? How much does your mother or father weigh? The more you weigh, the harder you fall. But you don't have to fall in order to weigh yourself. A scale tells you how hard you fall, without you falling at all. So simply get on the scale. Yay! All right, second graders, that was an expository text teaching us all about the Earth's forces and gravity. Tomorrow, we are going to work with this book a little bit more and try to determine the author's purpose for writing it. So take a moment to think, what do you think was the author's purpose for writing this story? Why did Vicky Cobb want to write this story about the Earth's gravity? Was she trying to teach you something or give you information? And if so, what was the information about? Be ready to talk about it and work with me on the story one more time tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye, second grade.